News Prime.
Welcome to Joy News Prime, still the most comprehensive 2 hours of television news in Ghana. My name is Israel. Coming up, a recent directive by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission for the Electricity Company of Ghana to suspend its billing system, according to the workers, has sparked a wave of attacks against them. The workers, as a result, are threatening to withdraw the directive. They are threatening that the PURC withdraw the directive, else it will embark on a mass disconnection of defaulters, especially government agencies. Ashanti Region Police Command declares 19 suspects wanted as it steps up efforts to stem recent wave of armed robbery-related deaths in the region. Ghana East Municipal Assembly parries blame for sorry state of the Abokobi Presby Basic School, where pupils have to also contend with bats during lessons.
And coming up in business, experts advocate moratorium on further award of oil contracts as government withdraws 2014 Petroleum Exploration and Production Bill from Parliament for fine-tuning. And a witch camp in the northern region, which used to provide shelter for mainly women accused of witchcraft, is seeing a significant increase in its male population. We'll tell you why. There'll be sports, entertainment, and Joy News Interactive in this bulletin, which is also available across Europe on London-based ABN television. Stay tuned. The police in the Ashanti region has declared wanted 19 suspects, it says, have been linked to various crimes in the region. The 19 include an ex-cop and ex-convict, also accused of illegal possession of weapons. At a news conference to parade 10 recently arrested robbers, including a woman described as a financier of robbery operations, the police warned the wanted suspects to either turn themselves in or face the wrath of the command. Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
The increasing rate of crime in the Ashanti region has left the police with no option but to strengthen its surveillance to arrest the trend. These arrests are customary in the police service, but last week's arrest is critical.
It is believed that syndicated armed robbers numbering about 4 groups are perpetrating these heinous crimes within the metropolis and its environs. We have these groups. Group 1, in which these people are involved. Are you not Amasewa? He is in the group. Group 1, we have Bona, alias Yebedi Boni Ewu, at large. We have 2, Killer. We have some of their photographs here.
Several people have been molested in separate heinous operations by these suspected criminals. One, Kwabna Akomia Frimpong and Joseph Barcheneboa, were attacked and killed separately at Ahinema Kokobeng and a Boatem news site.
Again, on 21st of the same May 2016, at about 7:30 p.m., 3 armed men with AK-47 rifles, dressed also in black attires with hoods or masks, attacked one Akomia Frimpong at Ahinema Kokobeng news site and robbed him of 4,200 Ghana cedis, and in the process shot and killed one Kwabena Akomia Frimpong, aged 33, who happened to be a younger brother of the victim.
Suppliers of ammunition to the robbers were also identified by the police.
Another deadly group, Group 4. We have Mutala, a dismissed policeman suspected to be having an AK-47 assault rifle. We have his photograph here. This is Mutala's photograph. 50 Cent's name is yet to come out here. It is suspected that they get their supply of weapons from the following people. We have already mentioned Mark II as one of the suppliers, normally found around a Krupon area, who is at last.
The Ghana Water Company says customers can now pay their bills electronically. The initiative, it says, would see the eventual phasing out of the manual reading of meters. According to the head of public relations at the GWCL, Stanley Mate, various measures have been put in place to ensure a smooth transition. It says with effect from the 1st of June 2016, GWCL meter readers will be capturing customer consumption data with a handheld Android device equipped with software which already has the customer's data. Stanley Mate has been explaining the process, which he describes as straightforward. To join us is Ifwa Evans-Chenry.
The Ghana Water Company Limited now is leveraging ICT to improve on its services to our customers. Now, what we are doing now is to use an Android device in reading the meters of or the consumption of our customers, and we'll give them an instant bill via text message and or email. Hitherto, we were doing it manually, and our customers or our meter readers will visit the customer and then take details on the meter manually, send it to their office, is imputed into our system, and a bill is generated and sent to you later after a month or two. This time we have changed the system such that you can receive an instant bill via text message. So we are eliminating paperwork now. Okay, no paper. So the meter reader will visit just like they do all the time, and then he goes to stand by your meter, and then he'll pick the GPS coordinates. Now, because you have synchronized your GPS coordinates with the customer's data, the moment he picks the GPS coordinates, the data of that customer will pop out on the device. Then he can input in the readings on the meter. When he does that and he sends it, it goes into the cloud or into the system, and then the bill is generated. Then you receive an instant text message and an email telling you of your monthly consumption and your bill. Okay, so it's that simple. He comes in, does the work, or does his imputation, and then you receive your bill. Now, when you receive your bill, you can only pay using the Ghana Water Payment Scratch Card, which will be on the market.
That's for sale?
Yes, for sale. It will just be
How much does it cost?
sold like that of the telcos. Okay, and we have a 5 CD denomination card, 10 CDs, 20 CDs, 50 CDs, and up to 200 CDs. So you follow the instructions behind the card, just like you load your credit on your phone, and then you send it to a number that has been given. And then you're going to receive another instant message telling you how much you have paid. Okay, and if you have any arrears, it will still inform you that you have paid this amount, but you have this arrears. If you have paid more, then it will also indicate to you that you have paid this amount and you have this balance. So in the event where you receive another bill in the following month, then that balance will be deducted from your consumption or from your bill at the time. Okay, so it's that simple.
So what?
Now we'll be taking a break, but we'll be staying with the utility issues, and when we come back, we'll be telling you why the Electricity workers of the Electricity Company of Ghana are threatening the PURC. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, withdraw your directive on the suspension of ECG's billing software or phase out RAF. That's the ultimatum issued by unionized workers of the Electricity Company of Ghana to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC. The ultimatum comes as the directive from the Commission expires Monday after I gave the power distributor 10 days to suspend the controversial billing system, which has been blamed on for the astronomical bills that customers are experiencing. Joy News' Raymond Aqua has more in this report.
Following customer complaints of huge bills, government directed the ECG to rectify the anomalies. Shortly thereafter, the PURC instructed the company to suspend the software. It's not clear whether the ECG has suspended the software, but what is clear is a threat by the workers to embark on a strike should the commission fail to heed their demand. Addressing a news conference Monday, General Secretary of the Public Utility Workers Union, Bonzi Quay, said they will withdraw their services if the PURC fails to heed their call.
As a result of this directive, workers of ECG have been exposed to several acts of intimidation, abuse, threats, and in some instances, physical assaults. Regrettably, more than 1 week after this directive, management have not explicitly issued any formal public statement to debunk or explain the said directive of PURC. It is important to state that PURC, as the economic regulator of ECG, failed and or refused to discuss its findings with ECG management before issuing the said directive. The said billing software, which is called Commercial Management System, CMS for short, was procured for ECG under the second phase of GDAP, which is a project anchored at the Ministry of Power with funding from the World Bank. The workers consider this act of PURC as very unfortunate and by inference calculated to cause public disaffection towards the company. Accordingly, the workers have decided that PURC, as a matter of urgency, should retract this directive within 7 days, 7 working days, with effect from today, as all the frontline staff and field workers will withdraw their service, since the congenial atmosphere required to work is not guaranteed.
The ECG workers also gave government a 2-week ultimatum to pay all of its debt or risk a mass disconnection exercise of all state institutions that owes the power company.
It has become abundantly clear that our management is not showing the requisite leadership and resolute drive to get the government organizations to pay their debts and power that they are using. As workers, we have exercised a lot of restraint and caution, but have come to the realization that some drastic actions need to be taken to resolve this matter once and for all. Accordingly, we are using this medium to serve notice to all government institutions that are owing ECG and those who are not on prepaid meters to take note that we are going to embark on a massive disconnection exercise with effect from 20th June 2016 to retrieve all arrears and ensure that going forward, all such institutions pay for the power they consume every month. We are also using this medium to sound the warning that any attempt by any authority to frustrate or impede our move to collect our standing debts will be fiercely resisted. And we will consider such interference as a deliberate act to prevent us from carrying out our legitimate duties as workers.
Raymond.
Now, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has meanwhile called the bluff of the ECG workers, demanding the withdrawal of the directive. Director of External Affairs, Nanaya Jantua, says the Commission will not bow to pressure from the workers because there is enough evidence to suggest there are serious problems with the billing software. Java tells Evans Mensah on Joy FM's top story, the attacks on the ECG workers must be condemned.
When we investigated, we saw anomalies in the billing system. This is not the first time that PURC has done tariffs or increased tariffs. But this is the first time we are seeing some of these anomalies. And I want to say that this issue has to do with post-paid customers, those who use credit meters, not prepaid. Not prepaid. And for instance, we saw certain trends, like somebody has been billed for 3 months together. And certainly if I'm billed for 3 months together, it pushes me into the next bracket of the tariff. And it increases how much I have to pay. And there's no indication on that bill to tell me that this bill that has been given to me is for 3 months. There was an instance where somebody has been billed from 2016 to 29.99. I don't even know when 29.99 is going to come. So it is clear that there's some form of anomaly in the new billing system.
I think they agree with you, but they say it's not a software problem.
But it is what? Because
it's the taxes and the tariffs you have imposed that it's leading to the astronomical increases.
My dear, we don't, you see, we use the word astronomical. If you are seeing any increase of a 300%, maybe the pool chairman or if you come and we show him some of the bills. Somebody is paying 300% over. Somebody is paying 1,000%. Somebody who was paying for only 50 units in Somenya has been billed 13,000 units. How do you explain that? The tariff.
There is an important issue. When you determined that it's a software problem, was it with the consent of ECG management? It shouldn't
be the consent. We should have something very clear. PURC is an independent regulator. The law states categorically that we are independent from the influence of anybody or any person or any organization. We do our work independently.
But I get that, but the meters are their property. So if you're auditing it,
my dear,
the billing software, they are hosting the billing software.
Because you see, we had talked about this billing thing, and everybody was going around. Some were saying meters. We tested meters. We've gone through this thing not today.
Right now, joining me in the studio to talk a bit more about this is Michael Edumata Nyantechi. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the Public Utilities Workers Union of the TUC. Good evening to you, Mr. Nyantechi.
Good evening.
And thanks for joining us once again. Now, why are the workers, I must first of all say that, I mean, the attacks on the ECG workers, clearly everybody says it's condemnable and it should be condemned as such. But why won't you report such attacks to the police, for the police to take action?
Well, thank you. In many of these instances, at the end of the day, sometimes you get the intervention of the police to help protect the workers.
Isn't that enough?
No, I don't think that is enough. I don't think you want to come to work every day, then you are subjected to this kind of situation, and police have to come in before you get some form of assurance or a protection. And all that we are saying is that, yes, PURC is an independent body, but every independent body under our constitution is supposed to do things in a certain way. Like an auditor, you go and do any investigation or audit any company or anybody. You are expected to discuss your findings with the subject.
All right, which in this case will be the management of ECG.
And we strongly believe that if PURC have done that, and this is not the first time
How do you know that they haven't done that?
They didn't do that. We know that for a fact.
But in one breath, I just heard, your representative who spoke, the General Secretary, say that they haven't heard anything from the management of ECG. Isn't it strange that management of ECG itself hasn't spoken?
Yeah, that is even one of the issues that have pushed us to come to the public, because we expected.
Shouldn't you be directing your salvos at the ECG management first of all?
No, there is a cause and effect. ECG management did not put out any statement into the public domain. The statement which has created this situation for our members was issued by PURC.
But
granted that they are doing their professional independent work, all we are saying is that if they have done their work the way it ought to be, have discussed their findings with ECG management, the management would have given them some information which will not lead us to this situation where our workers are now the subject of attack.
It still brings me to the same point. The management is supposed to be taking care of the welfare of the staff of ECG. And so if there are concerns like this, you direct them at the management of ECG. And if you're not getting anything, then you'd want to take it out.
Yeah. We have had some discussions with the management.
And did you ask management if PRC have actually approached them?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Did you ask management why they haven't spoken about the ECG directive, the PRC directive?
We've asked management that. We were, even before asking, we were expecting that management on its own will see that this is something that needs to be responded to as early as possible. We've waited over a week. We haven't formally seen any statement coming from management, either explaining or assuaging.
So you go back to management?
No, we cannot continue going back to management when our members are day by day being vilified, insulted, abused, and threatened.
Because, Mr. Nyantichi, the threat you've put out, the threat actually is directed at the PRC. PRC has nothing to lose if you go and disconnect customers or government agencies that owe.
No, let's separate two things. The disconnection of the government agencies is a separate issue from the directive PURC had given. The PURC issue we are taking with them is that by the directive they put out in the public, many of the people who are attacking our members are standing on that directive.
And you want that directive to be withdrawn. Otherwise,
we don't want our members to continue going to the field and suffering this kind of attacks.
So you're going to withdraw your services?
We are saying that if PURC doesn't retract or come to explain the issues, to let the public know that ECG workers are not doing anything deliberately against anybody, and so they should not be attacked, then the best course will be, why should I expose myself to continuous danger and threat? So we will ask our field officers,
at which point
at
which point are you deciding to also embark on a mass disconnection?
It's a separate issue altogether. If you have followed our statement, we picked the news from when ECG management appeared at the Public Accounts Committee. We know already, but it came out again that the issue of government indebtedness is still hanging. Government keeps telling us efforts are being made to pay the debts, and we see this continues. Sometimes our members go to the field, try to disconnect some of these institutions in the bit of carrying out their normal assignment, then telephone calls come, go and reconnect. These are affecting the company, is affecting us, and we think that something has to be done. The status quo cannot continue, and these are some of the reasons for which the same government is saying that you cannot even collect your bills, so we are packaging the company for a private entity. In law, there's something you say that you cannot benefit from your own wrongdoing. You cannot create this state of affairs. You are not paying the bills you are supposed to pay. Then you turn around and blame the one for inefficiency. Yeah. When the person wants to take a step, then somebody is drawing the person back.
Okay.
So we are saying that, no, this should not continue.
So in one breath, you're saying that you intend to withdraw your frontline staff if the attacks on them don't continue and if the PRC does not withdraw the directive. But in another breath, you're also saying that you intend to embark on a mass disconnection exercise. If you withdraw your services, how do you embark on a mass disconnection exercise?
Yeah, a good point. But that's what I'm saying, that let's not jumble these two issues. There are two.
So you're going to finish with the PRC issue first,
and subsequently, that's why we have given this one is the deadline we have given is that If by 20th we don't see anything, definitely we will engage with these MMDAs and governmental institutions. But there's a starting point. But for the PURC issue, this one, we will not continue to allow our members to be exposed to this thing. They are supposed to go to work and work in a congenial environment without fear or any intimidation.
So all this that's coming up is coming up at a time when customers are enduring outages and blackouts, and a number of complaints have come up. What do you say to people who say it's a good basis for people to say ECG indeed must be privatized and sold off?
Well, I don't want to say whether anybody has done any proper assessment to conclude that the blackouts we are experiencing are as a result of.
No, they look at the plethora of problems that you're having, billing complaints, outages, and a whole lot of factors, and they're saying maybe we can deal with all these if we have a private person taking charge of it.
Yeah, billing complaints, let's understand that
and even the bills or the debts that government owes you, it's easier to take the debt if this was handled by a private company.
Yeah, and that is where we find that kind of analysis very deficient in the sense that somebody has to pay the bill. Who is the one? It's government. Is government in a position to pay to the private sector? Then government can equally pay to ECG. And that is a simple logical. So all we are saying is that what is good for the goose should also be good for the gander.
One other factor that comes up is that each time you argue or you demand that government pays back what it owes you, then government also says that it has invested in the company. It has made commitment on your behalf. It has guaranteed loans for you. And so if you're ready to pay the loans, they're ready to pay back whatever they owe you.
Well, for that argument, yes, often we hear that, but we find it...
Isn't it a valid argument?
No, we don't. Why?
Does ECG owe government?
Government is the owner of ECG. If a shareholder, you capitalize a company, that does not mean, and here ECG is a trading concern, the fact that you have put equity or capital into the company does not mean you should go into the store and start taking everything and not pay and think that the company will run and make profit. It doesn't work that way. The guarantees, the investment, we see that government as a shareholder and the sole shareholder is its responsibility to do. If you put any company in place, you are supposed to provide that capitalization. It's not a one-time activity, it goes on. But it does not mean that the fact that you have given some equity or investment means that you should take the monies the company
does the ECG workers have the blessing of management to embark on these disconnection exercises that they're talking about?
No, we don't need that, because over the years...
You don't need the blessing of management?
Over the years, management has also been a part of the problem that ECG is going through.
So if you have a problem with management, why are you not demonstrating against management?
No, what I'm saying is that management often, because of where they sit, appointed by political influences, staff go and disconnect an institution, a call comes from the top, go and reconnect. And these things are going against the company.
They will continue to do that. If you embark on another disconnection exercise, they will call you and tell you that.
I believe if you look at our statement, we've made it very clear. If this continues, then we are going to take this as a calculated attempt to prevent us from doing our work. So if you are putting impediments in doing our job, then it will be logical for us to sit down. And nobody will say that, oh, you are essential services, you are embarking on strike. Give us the free hand to do the work for which we have been recruited to do, and create the congenial atmosphere and environment for us to work freely. And that is the requirement that every worker needs.
All right. Thank you very much. Michael Dumata Nyantechi is the Deputy General Secretary of the Public Utility Workers Union of the TUC. We're taking a break on Joy News Prime. When we come back, we'll bring you business news. Right, time now for business, and Emmanuel Abaji has joined me. Good evening to you, Emmanuel. And sorry, we ate a bit into your time.
It's all right. Good for God and country.
Yep. All right. So what's coming up?
Well, coming up, you know, late last week, the Minister for Petroleum withdrew the much-awaited Petroleum Exploration and Production Bill, also known as the EMP Bill.
Do we know why?
Parliament. Well, he cited recent international developments, which I consider to be quite flimsy and quite vague, because this bill has been lying down for 2 years, and these developments on the global scene started not now. I mean, it's been going on for a long time.
Are they indicating when it's going to come back?
No, they are saying that the minister is saying that he has to send it back for fine-tuning to make sure that some of the conditions under the bill reflect current developments. But it's quite interesting because in the absence of the bill, we are still going to rely on the PNDC Law 84, which is seen as outmoded, to give out contracts, which do not favor.
Serious issues have been raised about the bill itself. So if they're intending to correct them before they bring it back, I think it's...
My problem is that why has it not taken place exactly until now? I mean, it's been lying down for 2 years, and people have been calling for it to be passed into law, because that is the main framework that regulates the oil and gas industry. But we wait to see.
Well, let's wait to see what comes out of it.
All right.
Take it away.
Thank you very much. Now, time for business. And the Executive Director of Kumasi Institute of Technology and Environment, KITE, Ishmael Ejekumihene, is advocating a government moratorium on further award of contracts following the withdrawal of the Exploration and Production Bill by the Petroleum Minister. The bill, which is to regulate petroleum activities and other related matters, has been before Parliament since 2014. However, Energy Minister Emmanuel Amakufibua says recent international developments in the petroleum industry have necessitated its withdrawal for fine-tuning and to reflect recent happenings. But speaking on the marketplace on Joy News, Ishmael Ejekumihene said a moratorium by government will prevent further award of new blocks under the outmoded PNDC Law 84 and prevent international oil companies from taking advantage of the lapses.
I think what we should be pushing for, if the bill has been withdrawn, is a moratorium on new blocks, so that we don't have the status quo being maintained and allowing for the minister to be signing away blocks before the law comes into being. Because I tell you what, we don't have an awful lot of blocks, and if we are not careful, by the time the EMP bill is ready, we would have already issued or given away all our blocks. So I think we should advocate that a moratorium be placed on blocks if the minister is withdrawing the bill, so that at least nothing will change. We wait for the bill or the law to be passed, and then we can start issuing new blocks. Obviously, people who sat in Parliament and allowed this law to be withdrawn, and the people who have been debating it for more than 2 years, probably don't see the need for even the EMP bill. If it were to be a priority, we pass the PRMA in record time. Okay, the management of the revenue was so important that we passed it from 2010. By 2011, the bill had been passed into an act. So we should rather be sensitizing and be making starting the advocacy in that respect, so that the Parliament sees that it's important that while the minister is taking the bill out, he should also accept that there's going to be a moratorium. And I expect it to be sooner than later. As for its impact on the economy, not that much, because, I mean, if I give out a block, it's just basically saying that, okay, I have a land, I can guarantee you that you can find oil, but go look for it. If you don't find anything within a certain period of time, you relinquish the land back to me. So in terms of the economy, not much. Looking at the price of oil and looking at everything, it wouldn't be such a bad case if government should say that, I mean, any investor, unless they want to take advantage of a very weak legal regime to get blocks, would understand why, if there is a substantive legislation like the EMP bill is being withdrawn, if the government says that I'm putting a moratorium until I reintroduce the bill in Parliament or the law is passed.
In another development, the unstable prices of crude oil on the international markets continue to affect many oil-producing countries. According to the acting chief executive of the Petroleum Commission, Theo Ehwing, the effect on Ghana appears to be relatively minimal. The price of crude oil has dropped drastically in recent times, resulting in a renegotiation of several exploration projects globally. Theo Ehwing explains to Joy Business why he thinks Ghana has been lucky.
I think the reality is that oil price has been one commodity that even the best of analysts have not been able to analyze in the world or predict in the world. We've seen in my life in the industry, I've seen oil prices less than $10 a barrel. And you've also seen what happened in 2008, 2009. So it goes within a very wide range. Obviously, when the industry experiences a low oil price, things are down. And when it's up, it's very bullish and everybody is excited about it. Today, the reality of the world is that because of the current oil price, the oil industry is expecting some decline in a lot of areas. Many companies have cut back projects. Companies around the world have laid off tens of thousands of employees. And I would say relatively in Ghana we have been lucky. The two major projects that we had, the 10 projects and the OCTP project, are all going on schedule. And I think that this is a major achievement in the upstream petroleum industry. We must be very lucky. Obviously, we will take a bit of the hit. But as an optimist, I always look at the bright side. It means that when you are developing projects, the cost of the project is likely to be slightly lower, because currently rig rates are down and other costs are relatively lower. So that is the bright side of it. In terms of long-term impact, yes, I think that around the world, the momentum for exploration is lower than it used to be. And naturally, we might take a little hit out of that. But I think overall, Ghana stands tall in the current difficult situation.
Away from that, expect an improvement in the current power situation from next month. That is the assurance from the Director of Generation and Transmission at the Power Ministry, Engineer William Samapia. The recent shutdown of the Jubilee FPSO vessel triggered frequent power cuts, especially in the capital, with many describing it as a gradual return to the days of load shedding. Engineer Apia attributes it to the challenges with generation.
It's one plant that can generate up to 1,020 megawatts. Today we are doing barely 400 because the water level has gone down the reservoir. We are also having challenges with fuel. The fuel that we are getting in the west, we use gas from the Jubilee field, and in the east, that's Tema, we use gas from Nigeria. Unfortunately, we've had instances where the Jubilee field, they had to do some maintenance on the equipment and gas went away. So which means power generation in the west was affected. Today, we have barely 10 million scarf per day. Our contract with Nigeria is 123. We are getting barely 10. And for that reason, we have capacity sitting in Tema, which is not running because there is not enough fuel to run. And that is the reason why today, if we are talking about the demand is about 2,200. Unfortunately, we are barely able to generate about 1,900. So that deficit is what is seen in certain areas during the night, where some areas have to go off just because there is this gap between what we can generate and what the demand is. Today, we have people working on the fuel situation. The biggest challenge is fuel. In Ghana today, we are using 3 types of oil, let's say 4, either light crude oil, gas, heavy fuel oil, or diesel. Unfortunately, with gas, we are having the challenges I mentioned earlier. And with LCO, it's a question of funding, where we have to get enough funding to buy the fuel, which we are always trying to do.
The government could, in the coming weeks, face some challenges which might affect its ability to meet its financial obligations. This is because it is currently racing against time to meet its half-year target of raising some 30 billion Ghana cedis from banks and investors. Now, on this note, we go to the stock market. John is here, and he's going to update us on the stock markets. Good evening, John.
Good evening, Emmanuel.
Okay, so what transpired today?
Today, the market opened on a very slow and a very contracting note at 64,233 only traded on the market. Quite small. I wouldn't want to say insignificant. It's significant, but small if you compare to what the market can do or the ability of the market. And this actually was valued at 12,215. Quite a very low figure, but it's expected actually. It's a Monday usually, and then that brought market capitalization to 54,226,057. So that's exactly how much the market is worth as we speak. Now, what is actually happening is that for the first time in about 2 weeks, the composite index has actually been able to drop marginally, meaning that the market gained some advantage as a result of the transactions that were actually held today. But the financial index did not actually move. It actually rather worsened by some the 0.004 percentage point today. Basically, that's exactly what it is. Now, let's look at the various equities that really moved the market today. We had only 2 equities moving the market today, and this actually, Unilever returned 1 peswa to their investors' capital as UT Bank lost what? 1 peswa to close the market at 0.07. That's about 7 peswas per share. So tomorrow Unilever would actually open the market at 8 Ghana cedis 48 peswas per share. That's exactly how the market actually went. These were the 2 movers on the market today, Unilever and then UT Bank. Now, just away from the Ghana stock exchange, let's look at how the commodities are also faring globally. Now, crude is able to be able to actually maintain that momentum it gathered since last Friday from that $49 per barrel mark to about $50.50 today. So currently the crude oil is trading $50.50 after gaining almost about 88 cents per barrel. Now gold also gained $1.76 to be trading around $1,245.70 per ounce, as cocoa gained $22 to trading around about $3,052. So that's how the market. Very good day for those international commodities that Ghana actually had some interest in there. But unfortunately, the cedi did not do same. Just the cedi could not really do well as the market opened today on the forex market. The cedi lost to the United States dollar, lost to the British pound, lost to the euro, lost to the Chinese yuan, but only gained marginally against the CFA franc, basically. I think it gained against it last Thursday, Friday, and of course today too. So gradually the CFA is actually losing grounds for the cedi. So for tomorrow, if you need 1 United States dollar, all you need is about 3 Ghana cedis 84, and 5 Ghana cedis 50 now will get you 1 British pound. So that's how the market actually fared today. It's an opening market, quite contractionary, but let's see how and what tomorrow brings.
Let's hope the cedi picks up tomorrow.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. That wraps up business for this evening. Thank you very much for your attention, and good evening. Keep watching.
The Ghana East Municipal Assembly is blaming Get Fund for the sorry state of the Bokobi Presby Basic School, not too far from Accra. A Joy News report last week highlighted the dilapidated nature of the 70-year-old school building, in which over 400 pupils attend classes. The bat-infested structure contrasts sharply with the modern complex which houses the assembly not too far from the school. The MCE, John Kwawasaki, says litigation on the land and delays in release of money by Get Fund have stalled a project to get decent structures for the pupils. Beatrice Edu has more.
Just right here at Abokobi East Municipal Assembly, just to find out what is being done to help these children who are in that dilapidated Abokobi Presby Basic School. And I have here with me the Municipal Chief Executive, John Kwawasaki. He's actually brought us to a new site that is not so far from the Municipal Assembly, and he says that some constructions have already started. Now tell us, this school, Abokobi Presby Basic School, has been there for 70 years without renovation. Why has it taken so long to fix it?
Well, it does not take so long. We have various programs for all schools in our municipalities.
You've brought me to a site where I can see foundations and even some erection of blocks, concrete blocks to some extent, but this is not something anybody could live in. Is the project still ongoing?
You didn't see a foundation. What you saw is the superstructure. You know, from where we are standing here, you know, we are on the hilltop. the basement, which is also going to take 3 classrooms, as well as the teachers' library and staff common room, is part of the program. And the challenge we have was that initially there was a litigation on this land. Then followed, after we've resolved that initial challenge of litigation, we have the problem of GET Fund. The project actually sponsored by GET Fund. It has been more than 3 years since work stopped here. Started about 4 years ago.
Whilst you wait for all these financial issues to be sorted out, I've gone to your office, I've been to the Municipal Education Directorate's office as well. How did you get your money to construct your plush building?
I took office in 2009. Abokobi School was not part of the plan, but we insisted to have a plan to include Abokobi. If we have program for projects, and let's say, for instance, project A run into challenges, that will not prevent project B to be going on.
But, I mean, is it not an irony that this is a school that has a number of children in and is so dilapidated, yet the authority that is overseeing the school is in a plush building, as well as the Education Directorate, and these children have to wait?
Madam, you see, when you go it that way, the school was there before the district was established. The district was in the rented premises. The decision was taken that let's get a permanent structure. The budget and the program for the office was also separated from the budget for the school.
Some civil society groups are urging government to show commitment in devolving education authority to the local level. The group Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition believes this will address current problems associated with the capitation grant, teacher absenteeism, salary arrears, and equally raise the standards of education in the country. Speaking at a public lecture on education decentralization in Accra, Vice Chair of the National Development Planning Commission, Esther Ofeabwaje, says decentralizing education in Latin America and some African countries has helped to improve efficiency.
The Ghana Education Campaign Coalition organized a public forum to discuss the progress and clarification of stakeholder concerns on decentralizing education. The vice chair of the NDPC cited best practices in countries like Argentina, Brazil and Uganda, maintaining that Ghana must learn from such countries.
There are still delays in the transfer of statutory funds such as the capitation grant, textbooks, exercise books, chalk, school registers, and all of these have implications for effective teaching and learning at the basic level. And the payment of salary arrears have always been a source of tension between teacher unions and the government. From the foregoing, ladies and gentlemen, it can be deduced that decentralizing education management can result in far-reaching quality outcomes. Efficiency and effectiveness are most likely to improve under decentralization, where local service providers are held accountable for the results.
She explained that devolving authority in the educational sector to the local level will also promote accountability and reduce corruption. Executive Council Chair of the Ghana Education Campaign Coalition said decentralizing education will encourage and ensure community ownership of schools. However, Deputy Minister of Education Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa said government is committed to decentralizing the educational system, but maintains that it is not the only panacea to improving the quality of education.
When we got to the Ministry of Education, teacher absenteeism was at 27%. That is criminal, it's unacceptable. That more than a quarter, and if you look at the numbers, you have 392,000 teachers at the basic level, and more than a quarter of that number. It means thousands of people were just not showing up, and yet they were smiling to the bank at the end of the month. And the poor taxpayer continued to pay taxes. That certainly was not acceptable. So my minister declared war against teacher absenteeism. It will interest you to know that in the just concluded BEC analysis for the 2015 performance, there was no Greater Accra district or municipality or metropolitan in the top 10. Not one. The best performing district is Sechia Kontombra, and we have classified it here as a deprived district. Number 2 was Obuasi Municipal. Number 3, in Nkranza North, also classified here as a deprived district. We need to pay critical attention to certain popular notions, and the claims that, deprived districts because of probably lack of amenities and all of that, lack of ability to attract trained teachers and professional teachers, they have a high pupil-teacher number and all of that, would necessarily lag behind. And we have asked that this analysis be done over the last 10 years, and we'll do another 20 years to compare. And it is following this trend. So it is clear to us that, yes, decentralization is critical, but you can pass the law, and we know in this country we are not bereft of laws.
The coalition is urging government to show the needed commitment to improving the quality of education by passing the Education Decentralization Bill.
We're taking a break. We'll be back with international news. Now, time now for a quick recap of our top headlines. In a recent directive by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission for the Electricity Company of Ghana to suspend its billing system, according to the workers, has sparked a wave of attacks on them. The workers, as a result, are threatening to withdraw they're threatening that the PRC withdraw the directive, else it will embark on a mass connection of defaulters, especially government agencies. The Ashanti Region Police Command has declared 19 suspects wanted as it steps up efforts to stem recent wave of armed robbery-related deaths in the region. The Ghana East Municipal Assembly has parried blame for the sorry state of the Abokobi Presby Basic School, where pupils have to also contend with bats during lessons. In business, an energy expert is advocating a moratorium on the further award of oil contracts as government withdraws the 2014 Petroleum Exploration and Production Bill from Parliament for fine-tuning. Now, the Yendi Government Hospital in the Northern Region has not had supply of potable water from the Ghana Water Company for a while. Management, as a result, has had to rely on tanker services, which it says is being a financial strain, whilst also affecting the quality of healthcare. This was revealed when the Rural Water Development Project visited the hospital with some journalists, from where correspondent Hashmin Mohammed reports.
The government hospital serves as a referral center for the Tamale Teaching Hospital for patients in 4 districts in the Eastern Corridor, such as Mion, Saboba, Shireponi, and Zabzuzu. According to management, water had not flowed through the taps of the hospital for some time now, compelling them to buy water from tanker service providers to keep the facility running. Dr. Ayuba Abdullahi is the medical superintendent at the Yendi Hospital.
The water problem is not only regular to Yendi Municipal Hospital, it's the whole Yendi municipality. I think it's been first from a river down here called Dakar, and during the dry season it dries up, and when it dries up, that means that there will not be water to pump to the town, and then the hospital is also part of the town, and then we suffer. So we have to really rely on tanks to supply us water, and it's all on IGF as well, so on financial demand on the hospital. And the staff, also need water. The whole township will need water to be able to even come to work to serve the people. So it's a big problem, and it's not only this year. Almost every year it happens, somewhere from January coming down when the river dries up. Just until the rainy season again, so we have to be praying for the rains to come. It's something that is beyond our control, something that we cannot solve. Maybe we can only plead that if there's any solution to make sure that the problem is solved.
Dr. Abdullah is therefore appealing to authorities to supply the hospital with water tanker or ensure that the taps flow regularly to help address its water needs. Rural Water Development Project, a non-governmental organization working in health and sanitation sector, attempted to drill a borehole for the hospital to remedy its water situation, but they were unsuccessful. But its general manager, Nathaniel Adam, says they will explore other alternatives to drill boreholes closer to the hospital.
As part of our 2 weeks
screening work and work in Yendi, health and education work in Yendi, we had to drill 4 boreholes for the municipality to help alleviate the water problems. One of the places we targeted was the hospital because they've reported of several water challenges. We tried today, but unfortunately we didn't have water. The geology of the area makes it difficult. Success rate over here, it's the highest 50%, 40-50%. And so we tried here, we didn't get. We have some boreholes around here for them, but they are low yielding boreholes. And so that is a challenge. But we'll still do our best and see going forward whether we could identify any other spots around. The challenging thing is that the area just around the hospital is an old cemetery, and so it's difficult to research, around there and be able to drill.
The opposition New Patriotic Party has described as bleak and hopeless the future of the Ghanaian youth under the governing National Democratic Congress. It says the NDC government, since assuming power in 2009, is yet to come up with a clear policy to address youth unemployment, which according to them threatens the security of the nation. Addressing a news conference in Accra, National Youth Organizer of the NPP, Samir Uku, said government refusal to employ graduates of the nurses training institutions, non-payment of teachers recruited, and other issues demonstrate the government's lack of appreciation of the challenges facing the youth.
The employment situation in our country's health sector has never witnessed such gargantuan human resource mismanagement in recent years. The treatment meted out to our young health workers by the Mahama-led administration is inhumane and criminal. Graduate nurses and midwives who are officially bonded with government and successfully passed the licensing examination organized by the Nursing and Midwifery Council in 2013 and ended their national service rotation in January 2015 have had to stay home for over a year without being posted to their various fields of work. This is wicked. After cancelling teacher training allowance, nursing training allowance, abnormal rise in school fees, and cancellation of back pay, government is also refusing to employ those who manage to qualify under such harsh conditions. Young nurses are now reduced to picketing, to deaf years of officialdom. The situation becomes worse following a report from some nursing training institutes about lack of access to the student loan trust. Students of the Koforidua Nursing Training School in March this year appealed to government to speed up the processes with the student loan trust to enable them access loans. Anytime they went to Koforidua office of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, they were turned away with the explanation that government had not entered into any agreement with them for nursing trainees to be given the loan facility. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, where then lies the future of our young nursing and midwifery students and graduates?
Government last month announced the recruitment of 100,000 youth under the Youth Employment Agency program, but the NPP thinks the initiative only aims at scoring political points.
The Mahama-led NDC administration has failed woefully to provide any clear-cut policy direction aimed at systematically training and providing employment opportunities for unemployed youth. We have witnessed the metamorphosis of the NPP's National Youth Employment Program to a series of stealing schemes. The Mills-led NDC JIDA and now President Mahama's Youth Enterprise Support. The truth is that President Mahama has used the excuse of creating jobs for the young people of Ghana only for people to steal and abuse the taxpayers' money.
The Nani Witch Camp in the Yendi municipality of the Northern Region used to provide shelter for mainly women and children banished from their communities for being witches. The camp's male population has, however, seen an appreciable increase in the last few years. According to its managers, an increasing number of men are finding themselves running to the camp accused of being witches too. Hashmin Mohammed sent in this report.
The Gnani witch camp has become a safe haven for many men and women accused of witchcraft. It has a total population of 1,028 people, comprising 105 men, 313 women, and 610 children who have been chased out of their various communities on accusations of witchcraft. Over the years, most middle-aged and elderly women have suffered untold hardship from this practice in some parts of the northern region. Now, it is not only women who suffer such stigma. Men who are also accused of being wizards are being driven away from their communities with their wives and children to the Gnani witch camp to be set free of the evil spirits. But these men, after exorcism at the shrine, end up staying there. One of such male inmates at the camp is 40-year-old Payab, who is a father of 6. He found his way into the camp 11 years ago after he was accused by members of his community of being responsible for the death of his neighbor bitten by a snake.
I'm accused by community and was bitten by a snake when he died.
And they accuse you of you being responsible?
Yes. 11 years now. I'm doing family activities.
Family. And your family people, have they been visiting you?
Oh, most of the time they used to come.
Do you have any intention of going back to the community?
For that one, I can best. If not from them, I can decide my own to go back again.
Payab attended Evangelical Presbyterian Senior and Technical High School at Saboba, hoping to become a managing director of a company in the future, but his dreams were shattered by the accusation. The linguist of the chief priest of the Gnani witch camp, Al-Hassan Saini, tells Joy News now men who are accused of being wizards are taking refuge in the camp, thereby increasing the population.
Most of these men who are brought in after going through the rituals to set them free from the witchcraft at the camp do not go back to their communities for fear of stigmatization, and we have to accommodate them here. You know, some of the men who are accused of being wizards come in with their wives and children, and we cannot turn them away. They end up living here as a family.
Hypertension and eye problems are the key ailments in the camp. This was revealed when the Ghana West Africa Missions of the Church of Christ, in collaboration with the Hardin University from the United States of America, led a team of health professionals from the U.S., the Tamale Teaching Hospital, and the Yendi Government Hospital to screen the inmates of the camp. Hashmin Mohammed's report.
Up next, we bring you entertainment. Time for entertainment, and Ms. G has joined me. Good evening to you, Ms. G.
Good evening, Israel. How are you doing?
I'm well.
I trust you had a fantastic weekend.
I did have a lovely weekend, actually.
Okay, so what happened? You're beaming. Like, tell me, what really happened?
Well, yeah, so I got to hang out with my old schoolmates. I mean,
okay,
people I'd not seen in what? So we finished school in 1992.
Oh, that's long. Well, 24 years now.
Exactly.
Wow.
So we got to hang out there before we end the entertainment segment. I'll show you some of the photos.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
Take some selfies and the rest.
I see. Nice one.
And I got to MC the launch of the 60th anniversary of the school with Kwame Sefakai, who's also
an old student. Oh,
yeah.
great.
So it was
great
fun.
guys
Mad
going
fun,
to your school, you know.
Yeah. What's up?
Okay, so what's up? Over the weekend, as you were chilling with your old schoolmate, Ohima Mercy was busy putting together her ministry. You know, she has a ministry that does outreach to the prisons, and also she takes care of some vulnerables in society. And so she decided to officially launch this ministry to us, and also to raise funds, you know, to keep the ministry going. And Becky was there and put together this report.
For me, morally, it's bad. I believe that
after a decade in the gospel music industry, multiple award-winning gospel artist Ohima Mercy has started a ministry which will change lives as well as support the needy in society. With 6 successful albums and still counting, she officially launched the Ohima Mercy Ministries. The ministry has projects on hand, which includes a prison project, high school tour, and the Tehillah experience. Some renowned faces in the gospel industry such as Nasi, Tego Sisters, Joe Metal, Francis Samu, and Becky Boni came all out to support Ohima Mercy on her new initiative with some powerful performances.
So I cherish the old rabbit boat till my drum is at last I lay down.
We spoke to some patrons on what they make of Ohima Mercy's new project.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here tonight because I can see what God is doing. I mean, what God is taking my sister. She's really going far.
I think she's doing very great. She's a very great artist, and I think we have to support her. Yes.
Ohima Mercy has been a mother and everything to me. I've served her for so many years, and I know what she's doing. And this project that Ohima Mercy launched, I was part of it when we started all these things. And by the grace of God, right now God has lifted this project.
To crown the event was a sterling performance by the woman of the night, Ohima Mercy.
Right, so it was obviously a lovely night.
Yes, it was a lovely night, and Becky also took the opportunity to speak to some gospel musician about profanity in the music industry. You know, it has become a thing of great concern.
Profanity?
Now, yes.
I'm not sure exactly how you mean by that.
Okay.
People actually sing profane gospel songs?
No.
But
it's a general issue, and we want to take the gospel
or the gospel musicians are exposing themselves or showing too much flesh?
Well, we've had a lot of that as well, and we've even had a new story which we are still yet to find how true, and that a gospel musician impregnated some lady and says that, okay, this is not good for radio, I'll tell you off air, you know. Anyway, so we spoke to Nasi concerning his absence and also profanity in the industry.
Hopefully by next week we'll be releasing the Counselor 1. So Ghana should just watch out for Counselor 1. Yeah.
Wow. So that's just a confirmation that Nasi, the brand, is not dead.
No, it's not dead. We can. How can we die?
Nasi, what do you make of profanity in the music industry in general?
There are some things are for adults, and there are some things that are also for kids. So whatever that we do, we should be mindful and think about the next generation. That is it okay for anybody to consume this? If it is not, for a certain age to consume or listen to it, advise yourself.
Do you think that there should be a censorship board?
I think we already have something like that, but just that I think they need some support from the government that they can, have the full power to operate. So maybe I would just plead to the government that they should give them the power, the money that they are requesting for, so that they can sit and also kind of sanitize some of these things, so that at least we can regularize it, then when it should be played and when not to be played.
Okay, so that's Nasi. Nasi broke away. No, he didn't break away. He stepped aside from his group, the No Tribe, and decided to go solo. And we've been waiting for ages to hear him, release an album.
He broke away.
No, he didn't. The group is actually his group. Now, Nasi is No Tribe is Nasi. And that's why lots of people have raised concerns, because if you form the group and you decide to go solo, it means that the group is virtually no more. That's what people are confused about. So that's the issue. But he's still not been able to release something. So he's promising that, this week he will release a song. So we are hopeful. All right. So talking still about Profanity, Joe Metal, who had a fantastic performance at the Ghana Music Awards, also took his turn.
Definitely, I'm a Christian, so I won't endorse it. It's not the best. It's not the best. If the way you portray yourself is the way people will see you, and so if you speak profanity, that's how people will see you. They would not give you that kind of respect that you need, and so it sort of like tags you as a particular person. So I don't think it's the best if we go from it, because there are kids that love the music, and when we do that, to us, like we say, we are building characters. That's the kind of generation that we are raising, which is not the best. And so to me, I don't endorse it at all.
What do you think we can do to probably minimize it?
I think in other parts of the world, there are restrictions. You can't go beyond a certain point when it comes to lyrics. If not, your song is banned or your song is cut off, those kind of things. If we do, it would help. I think it would help all of us. But I think as individuals, as the artists themselves, we need to just, we're wise people. So I know that we can do it even without any measures.
Right.
Okay, so Jamaica for you. Now Caucus is married. You know that in March he got married, and Caucus is out of town. But Caucus has met up with guess who?
Okay, I don't have to guess.
Oh, tell me. Tell me.
Kim Kardashian's husband.
Oh yeah, and he had a stern look on his face. But Kanye has always said that it's difficult for him to smile. He says, I've watched one of his shows with Ellen DeGeneres when he says that one thing he does when he's alone is to smile. Smile and smile and smile. That's all he does. But when he's in public,
he's unable to.
He doesn't smile.
Okay, so he has a stern face, and people are wondering, okay, the conversation is, was it that the guy willingly accepted to take a shot with Kanye West, or maybe Kwakese, maybe he was just walking by and just it
could be any, but visual.
They're trying to, the conversation is about, okay, under what circumstances did he get the photo?
Exactly. But the thing is that if you know Kanye very well, you won't be too surprised that he has a stern face taking this picture with Caucus. But another thing is that it doesn't stop you from smiling, Israel. If anybody walks to you and say, Israel, I want to take a picture with you. There's nothing wrong with you smiling and posing and maybe pulling out your fingers and,
but like you're saying,
all that.
This probably is his smiling face.
Yes. He says he hardly smiles. It's one difficult. Kanye has said it on several platforms that the one difficult thing for him is to keep a smile. You know, so I'm not surprised. But I just hope that this picture, translates into something good. We get to hear some of the good news, because what we are hearing other people saying is that this is just like a breeding ground for us to hear a collaboration between Kanye West and Caucus and our Bodam collaboration. I wonder how that will sound.
So somebody contemplating, a collaboration would show a lot more than, this one.
Really, so
from what I gather, he just bumped into him in a restaurant.
But that's how he starts. Is that not how he starts? I could just bump into somebody and say, "Let's do business. I'm a rapper from Ghana. Oh, you haven't heard of me? Check out my music." You know.
Then you rap for the person right there.
You see, always saying, "But damn crazy," you know, you do that thing, and the guy will be like, "Okay, really? Where are you from?" Anyway, let's move away from this one. And one collaboration that is 50% certain is E40's and Sarkodie. You know, Sarkodie did the Choices song, the cover of E40's Choices. We heard that he had tweeted back at Sarkodie to say, you know, thumbs up and all that. Now we are seeing another tweet that is saying that, okay, how about you come, let's do something together and blah, blah, blah. So we are so expectant that we get to hear E40 and a Sarkodie collaboration.
Okay.
Yes. We hope that is not another.
No, I mean, but Sarkodie is big. I mean, our Sarkodie is big.
Our Sarkodie is big.
E40, yeah, we've heard about E40.
But, you know, when it comes to Sarkodie, you're not too sure. We never heard about Ace Wood and Sarkodie did a collaboration with Ace Wood, $250,000, blah, blah, blah. And it began to become a big issue. So this time around, we just hope that, you know, it's in our best interest. So that'll be it for today. But tomorrow, expect some good news. If you're a lover of the Empire series, we're going to pull a surprise here. Yes. And also,
really?
Yes,
what sort of surprise are you talking about?
Oh, you don't need to know. Just keep your dial locked on Joy News Prime tomorrow. In fact, Joy News channel all through the day, and we're pulling surprises tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Before you go, I want to show you the photo of, the selfie I took. Okay, so here it is.
Okay.
Myself and my mates.
Okay.
Back in school. I mean, we're all 40s plus, but they're looking hot.
Yeah, very. Hey, I wonder if I'll be looking this way when I'm 40 plus, you know. Hey, Charlie.
Yep.
You guys had great fun.
Well, yeah. We had loads of fun.
I see. Great.
Okay, then.
Nice one for you. Next time, take me along with you.
I asked you to come along.
No, you didn't tell me there was item 13, did you? I would have if you had.
I would have taken care of you, whichever way.
Oh, next time I'll go with you.
Okay.
All right. So see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Miss G. That's it for entertainment. Up next to bring you sports.
Entertainment news was brought to you.
Right, time now for sports, and all this weekend we've been talking about Muhammad Ali, who passed, and everybody has been paying tribute to him. I mean,
it's been like a celebration, hasn't it?
Greatest of all time.
It's been like a celebration.
It has been. It has been. By the way, are you going for the funeral in Louisville, in Kentucky?
Oh no.
You should go.
No, I won't be.
Why not?
It's from all reports, it's going to be a big public gathering, but like for these big ones, the very private one would be, there'll be a private one.
Yeah, but we should be represented.
Okay, I mean, that's not a problem.
Anyway, all right. But yeah, I mean, of course, I've been, been reading the quotes, some of his famous quotes, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and all. Which one is your favorite?
The one about one of his many racist charging ones. He says he told his mother that, Mom, everything that's bad is black. Black male, black this, black that. But why is the white ones? So when they go to heaven, what are they going to see? Are all the angels going to be white as well? You know, Jesus is white. Yeah. Mary is white. Everything good is white.
Supposedly. They're supposed to be white.
So he explained that is how his reawakening came and the change of name and all that.
Okay. I would love to have met this guy.
Oh no, I mean, from all intents and purposes, and I'm sure you saw the interview we did with Joe Latte, who interviewed Ali in 1964. We played the full interview this afternoon. We'll try and pick just a bit back as well. He describes him as one of the most beautiful men he's ever seen.
Oh, wow.
And you know what? When he said that on Saturday, and I was reading the tribute across the world from the New York Times, Guardian, that's the same word a lot of people, not handsome, they said he was a beautiful man.
Indeed, I was just watching a video this afternoon where Halle Berry came on. He said she had an encounter with Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali said, I never thought I would have met a more beautiful person than me.
Whoa!
Anyway,
well, that's
very interesting guy.
That's him.
Very interesting character. You take it away.
Okay, all right. So the great man is gone, but like I said, it sounds like a celebration. He was only 74 years old, and in the grand scheme of things, when celebrities die, it's a rather young age. He's been battling Parkinson's for 32 years, which put a mask-like look on his face. But if you had seen the pictures of himself in the sun and so on, you saw that he lived the life that many would have loved to in 3 or 4 lifetimes. Manny Pacquiao, multiple weight-winning championship holder, has also paid tribute to the great. World outside Ghana, but in Ghana as well, is broadcaster Carl Tufor says Ali was simply the greatest sports person of all time.
As a person, it's very difficult to assess. I mean, if you talk to the likes of Joe Frazier, he will tell you he was a nice person. If you talk to George Foreman, he will tell you, even though he insulted him, he got on so well with him. I personally didn't know him as a person. I knew him as a sports person. And as a sports person, G-O-A-T, greatest sports person of all time.
Now, in terms of, there have been so many anecdotes that have been dropped, but what do you think he stood for?
Some have argued that he was principled. Others have argued that it was just a marketing gimmick. Whichever one it was, it made him stand out within a sea of great sporting personalities at the time. Remember, that was at the time when Pele was in his pomp. And for Ali to be the one to bring sports from the back pages to the front pages, from the last news item to the first news item, speaks volumes of exactly what he had achieved and what he has done.
And when he came to Ghana in 1964, 3 months after he beat Sonny Liston, the only journalist who got an exclusive 1-hour-long interview with him at what we now call the Movenpick Hotel, which was then called the Ambassador Hotel, was Joe Latte. And I spoke to him about his interview with Ali.
You are one of the very few Ghanaians, if any, who were lucky to see him personally. You actually interviewed him.
Yeah.
What was it like?
It was an experience I'll never forget. Because here was I, very new in broadcasting. I'd heard so much about this great boxer, and suddenly I had to face him in an interview in his own suite at the Ambassador Hotel. And when he came out of his room, 99.5% nude, I lost my senses. But I had a job to do. I had a job to do, and I had to do it. So I managed, unlike what you're doing most of the time these days, I had my questions well written out, rehearsed, so I didn't lose my feet. And I had to do exactly what I needed to do, and I think I did my best.
You can see that full interview on the Facebook page of Joy News or Joy 99.7 FM. May Ali rest in power. To the Ghana Premier League, and David Duncan, who has been asked to step aside by Kumasi Asante Kotoko, had a bit of a chat with sports journalists over his status as Kotoko coach. Now today, the club issued a statement to say that after this interview, they were not going to react to what his position in the club is.
What are they telling me? They are telling me to take a break. Yes. So I'm on break. That's what it is.
When it's back and forth, I guess.
What is back and forth?
What is telling you to have a break?
No, everybody goes on a break. And I'm on a break. So haven't you gone on a break on your job before? Yeah, I'm on a break on my job.
Right, so from local football to Euros, it begins on Friday, and the teams are wrapping up for the preparations. England have left for their training base in France ahead of the big kickoff in a couple of days.